Hi, Candice. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
Doing very, very well. Yes, absolutely. Great finally talking. Um, so who are you?
It's a loaded question. So
Is
I'm
it?
Candace, and I've been enjoying your suit since April of last year.
Wonderful. So what do you do, Candice? Like what do you normally do? What's your excitement? Like give
I trade stocks in the morning, and then after that, I kind of just mess around and play on YouTube and try to lose weight publicly on the internet. Super fun.
Wow, wow. So when you say you trade stocks in the morning, so you're West Coast, but you work on the East Coast basically? Is
Yeah.
that
So
is that how it
basically, my
works?
day starts around like 4:30 in the morning.
Wow. That's early.
Yeah, it's
That's,
pretty early.
do you have any family?
Well, no, my partner Ryan, he passed away. That's how all this started about 2 years ago, and he was a gym guy, and so I don't have any. My children are grown and out of the house, so it's just me trying to have my proper midlife crisis right in order.
Oh, wow. Um, no, I was just asking because like getting up at so early in the morning, the question really is like how do you figure this out with like life? Like how does it fit into your life? Because what I always find interesting is understanding like how people's general life looks like, and then how do we find time in hectic reality and when life happens to stay healthy, to stay in shape, to stay mentally clear, and so on and so forth. Because generally, when we're very busy, and especially when we have a schedule that's a little bit out of rhythm, that becomes really hard. So, for example, a lot of nurses and shift workers, they're generally in bad physical shape because they don't get the right sleep, they don't get the right rest, and you know, like figuring this all out is really is a challenge. And therefore, I'm like, wow, like 4:30, that's really early, and then getting all your life in order and like really really well put together is really a challenge.
No, it definitely is. And I think when you're on a journey like I am, you just have to make the time and learn to make the time to prioritize your health. Because I think that myself, as opposed to many of the people that use the Katalyst system, it's different. We're for the first time trying to figure all of this out. It hasn't been something that's been instilled upon us. It's something we are trying to figure out as a community.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the general big challenge is if we look at technology in, and I don't only mean just like tech in the last 20 years, but if we mean I mean in all types of inventions that humans made over the history of mankind, they're generally there to make things easier, right? So like whatever we invent, it's like it's making a task easier. That's like literally why we invent things, right? The wheel makes it easier to carry something from A to B, and like it's just like that's generally what it is. But I think in health, all that we've invented is basically reactive. Like we invented medicines and like maybe take vaccines out that they're supposed to like help you in the future, but we generally have invented things in health and medicine that help after an injury, that help after an accident, that help after a heart attack, that help after like something like that. And in preventative health and wellness, we basically just have different versions of giving people advice,
Right.
but we're not helping them actually doing it. So like we have trackers and watches and apps and plans and like all that kind of stuff, but we're not actually helping in the process. We're not helping you run, we're not helping you lift, we're not helping you this, that, and the other. Like it's not really making the task easier. And therefore I think putting this, like, we were still in an archaic time, and therefore like the majority of people are just not successful with it because most people would have been able to like transport something from A to B if we didn't have a wheel. But like the wheel was accessible to everyone, so that's I think a little bit the challenge in modern times, especially as our days get very full and we have sedentary lives and so on and so forth. It's really really tough.
No, very much so. But this has made it easier. I'm the biggest advocate because when anybody comes over to my house, I'm like, you got to try the suit on. You got to try it on because I'll be honest with you. When I started this, I think because I come from a very different community than your general audience. When I started this, I weighed 310 pounds.
When was that? A year ago?
That
or
was, yeah, exactly 1 year ago.
Okay.
310 pounds. I had lost my best friend and my partner. I was sedentary. Sarcopenia was setting in. I got to the point where I was on the floor and I couldn't like actually get myself up. And I think part of when you're that fat and you just want to get healthier and skinnier, you don't really care about the quality of weight loss. You hear it all the time. Muscle loss, muscle loss, muscle loss on these GLP-1 drugs. And that dominates the news media, it dominates the conversation. But I think a lot of people don't care because they just care about the scale moving down. I was already in a bad shape as it was because I was so weak. Like, we're talking the type of person that had to take one step and then put their foot on the same step to get to the next step. And I have a C6 and C5 neck injury. So as much as I wanted to be like, oh, we'll go and work out at a gym and lift traditional weights, if I wanted to remain pain-free, it wasn't something that was going to be in the cards for me. And so when a buddy of mine was like, you got to try this magical suit, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a magical suit. Come on. He's like, you just put this thing on for 20 minutes. You don't lift any weights, and it just does the exercise for you. And I'm inherently skeptical because as somebody in this community, every late night TV show, every 20-minute ad video, every exercise or shake weight, every product on the earth is to get you to buy it, put it in your house, and it turns into a laundry storage device. That's what they all are. Mm-hmm. And he was like, it's 30-day money-back guarantee. And I have problems returning stuff from Amazon. So I'm like, okay, but he was the type of man that researches absolutely everything and lives, but he lives a very like poshy life. And he finally convinced me. I was intrigued enough. I was like, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? I return this thing. And I set out on a mission to prove to him and just prove in general that Katalyst does not work.
You were the original skeptic.
Hole, like, okay, how do you prove muscle gain or muscle loss? And then I found out about DEXA scans. Mm-hmm. So prior to ordering your suit, I scheduled a DEXA scan to get a real black and white picture of how much fat I have on my body and how much lean muscle mass I have on my body. And that
for everyone, like for our listeners who don't know what a DEXA scan is, how does it work?
So it's a low intensity dual X-ray machine. It's like this giant table. You lay down. It takes like 10 minutes. It scans your entire body, calculates your bone density, your resting metabolic rate, how much adipose tissue or fat tissue you have, how much lean muscle mass, and basically where you are on a scale of healthy or absolutely out of control. My first scan was humbling.
Yeah.
Because it's a true picture. I'll send you one so you can put it up. And so I got this scan, and then I got your suit. And I put it on, and I was like, this is it. And at first I was like a little bit nervous about it, but I was hell bent on just proving whether this worked or didn't work. And so I did it for just over 30 days. I went back to Los Angeles, and I think that this is the first time that you and I connected because I made a TikTok video in the parking lot of the middle of Los Angeles. And because my second DEXA scan came in, and now, granted, I am not going to the gym. I'm not lifting weights of any kind. All I am doing is a suit. I wasn't even running your cardiac thing. I can't keep up with those women at the time. So I was just doing the strength training. That's it. And so I'm in the parking lot, and I get the second scan back, and I do the math, and it says 6 pounds of muscle gain. And I was like, okay, like, what do I even do with that information? I don't know. I know how much weight you can lose. I never thought about how much weight could I gain in a month. That's just something that never even crossed my mind. So I was like, I Googled it, and Google, I quote, said, gaining 6 pounds of lean muscle mass in a month is highly unlikely unless you're on performance-enhancing drugs. And so there we were. There was the proof. And then some people were like, oh, well, it's probably just this and that. The next scan came in, and the next scan came in, and the next scan came in. And here we are, almost, 7 months later, after using your suit, I'm down 110 pounds, and I have put on 16 pounds of lean muscle mass on a severe calorie deficit. not lifting a single weight. I
But
can
you're
get
also
off
on
the
GLP-1.
floor.
You're also on
I
GLP-1.
I
Just
flew
for
to
context.
Austin last month and did a 5K.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you. So, but just for context, you're also on GLP-1.
Yeah, I'm on a
Right.
GLP-1 and severe calorie deficit. All the things they say you can't lose muscle mass. And a lot of the criticism with the GLP-1 medication is that, like, oh, you're just going to end up a bag of bones at the end of this because you're going to lose so much muscle mass. And I've seen the DEXA scans of my friends and on my YouTube channel, and that seems to be the case. About 40% of their weight loss is lean muscle mass.
Yes.
So here we are. I want to scream it from the rooftops how much this suit has changed my life. I hear myself saying things that have never come out of my mouth before, like muscle protein synthesis. And I am in the kitchen in the morning with my creatine and my protein.
Yes.
Like one of those people.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes. No, I like, so honestly, I always get very emotional when I hear these stories and you know, I talk about this because this is literally why I went on this journey and like quit my job and moved continents and so on and so forth, because I found EMS training, so electromuscle stimulation training, to fix my back. That was originally my problem. Like, I have a lower back condition where my L3, 4, 5 basically don't have any discs, and I was sitting 150 days a year on a plane, and I was in agony and pain and painkillers and whatsoever. And then my physician sent me to a studio 12 years ago or 13 years ago now, almost, back in Berlin, and like within 6 weeks, it like fixed my back. And I was like, this is a miracle. Like, this works, like, actually. And finding out that this technology didn't exist in the US, and I wanted to come to the US anyway. And I said, like, okay, this is it. I'm going to make this happen. So I wanted to come to the US anyway. And I said, this totally works. What I could have not foreseen is that we have this other technological innovation, which is GLP-1 agonists. So basically a technology that helps individuals breaking the vicious cycle of food, unhealthiness, overweight, limited mobility, limited quality of life, and so on and so forth, that breaks the cycle. Like, you know, like literally breaks this vicious cycle. But it only solves half of the problem. Like, it solves the calorie intake, it solves the discipline piece, but it doesn't solve you have to change actually your body composition. It's not just a weight thing. Like, you know, you need less of this and you need more of the other thing. And that's generally what's being lost. And I have to say, I was very disappointed last year or early last year when Oprah did this like weight loss special. And this was like brought like GLP-1s really to the big screen, because she moved from Weight Watchers to just taking GLP-1s or Ozempic. I think Wegovy or whatever. I don't, one of them that she took, so I don't know which one it is. And all the side effects they were talking about was, oh, you might be nauseous, and you might have like sleep problems, and so. But no one talked about the muscle loss problem. Like, it was not part of this topic. But that is actually, the nausea goes away when you stop taking the drugs, or the nausea also goes away like when your body adopts to it, or maybe like you can like lower your dosage a little bit. But if you lose muscle mass, you've lost it, period. It doesn't come back. Like, you know, that's just really what it is. And in your case, because you've gained significant muscle mass, also your metabolism has changed. Like, now you start, like, even if you don't move at all, you're burning significantly more calories every day.
123 more calories since when I started the suit, and right now it's my resting RMR change.
Amazing, right? So that means, like, generally, like, your body is burning more, your body is more active. You will see, I don't know if you did hormone panels before and after.
I haven't got the most recent one, but every single marker along the way is better. Every marker.
Amazing. Yeah, no, so I couldn't have foreseen that, but now what we hear, like your story and other people on this like extreme weight loss journey, they're not just losing weight, they're literally improving their body composition. Yeah. And we were talking to a lot of doctors, and they said, like, if I could just prevent muscle loss, that would be great. No. We're not just doing this. We're actually building that. We're building new muscle mass, like which is like literally hasn't been even imaginable before because we were just happy to like mitigate the side effects. But this is better than mitigating the side effects.
It's changing the trajectory of people's lives because once they can get the idea that they're going to need this for the rest of their life, and it's easier to keep it. Because when you're fat, you already have more muscles than the average person because you're micro lifting your actual body all day long. And if you could just keep it, maintain it, and hopefully gain on it, you'll be so much more ahead of the game later on in this journey as opposed to if you're just frail and small at the end.
100%. Like it's so important. And I'm very happy that like pop culture is also moving away from this like cardio towards a like no strength matters, like lift something, and especially for women, because women are generally afraid of lifting weights. They don't want to lift weights. They don't want to look bulky. Women don't have the testosterone levels to become bulky. Like that's just like not happening.
Right.
And not everyone is genetically Icelandic and can look like a CrossFitter. Like that's also not like happening. So the whole notion of what is important, and by the way, you also mentioned nutrition. I want to go to that as well, like because you also changed probably your nutrition. So strength is important, and it's the biggest predictor of longevity and quality of life in humans. Like, you know, tell me how much muscle mass you have, or like Peter Attia saying like grip strength. It's like, you know, do the grip strength test and I tell you like in what shape you are.
I think he takes it further and says that it's the biggest predictor of mortality is your grip strength.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have like a proper muscle mass, like your all-cause mortality can cut in half easily.
It's made a difference on every single aspect of my life because it just feels like you finally have power. Because when you're injured, your back is when you can't work out and you want to do something, but you for fear of having to go back on pain medication or do nothing. This was the absolute perfect solution. And then I was thinking, well, it's not just for people that are injured. There's so many people in this community that have never been to a gym before. They don't know how to lift weights. The risk of injury is just completely mitigated because it's literally you versus you. And every single aspect of your suit is you can change, whether the strength levels on everything. I appreciate so much.
So what is your
aspect of it is such a helpful thing. And the farther you get along, you can see your strength increasing because you're on your iPad, you know, dialing up the every part of it.
So for very quick, if someone is like listening to this for the first time and they don't know what Katalyst is, so what we've built is a consumer ownable and usable full body muscle stimulation suit where you have 9 different areas of your body that can individually regulate the training intensity of each major muscle group. So if it's your quads, your hamstrings, your abs, like whatever you want to basically train and how strong you are in certain areas. And what we've done is we've taken this technology, which was previously basically professional training for athletes, and we put it on an iPad or an iPhone, and we give you like a lot of guidance. And yeah, you set it up in 5 minutes, you get into it, and wherever you are, you can train with it. So that's really that's the product that we have. And what you're describing is there's just basically content for different levels, for different people. What kind of workouts do you like the most? What kind of workouts are you generally selecting?
I mainly just stick to the power and the strength. Those are the ones that I enjoy the most because I get my DEXA scans every 2 weeks or every month, and I like to see it. And it helps. It also too, if you're uneven on your body, there's certain ways that I use the Katalyst suit to like help even out. Because I noticed that my muscles on my left side of my body are a little weaker than my right side of my body, and the way that I could focus it, utilizing the Katalyst thing, and then I go get a DEXA scan to see if what I'm doing is actually working.
Yeah, I mean, you're really taking it to the next level by really measuring like on a very regular basis. Like, I mean, most people don't do that. But that is actually very good because you see like, hey, this is what I'm doing and these are the results.
Right. Yeah, and especially with when you were talking about nutrition, the protein intake. Because I noticed that no matter how hard I worked in the suit, when my protein I was doing like 0.7 grams per pound. And then I noticed that I was getting about 9% of the weight that I was losing was muscle. And then I bumped up the protein and kept the suit exactly the same. And then I went to a gaming side of it. So they just even figuring all that out. It's just the neatest opportunity to have all of the technologies. Because if we're going to throw this high-tech EMS into it, let's throw all the technologies into it, make this the most. We have the resources there. Let's utilize them. And when I do the cardio, like I have like these silly like vibration plates and like I have like a little like curved treadmill. When I throw it on cardio mode, I'll just put the iPad on, let your people like talk in the background and turn it down, and then just do my regular sets on normal equipment. And I notice that I'm reaching my target heart rates faster and easier just by simply wearing the suit.
Yes. So this is a big advantage, especially for people that are starting in an unfit state on their fitness journey. So what we're doing in this cardio setting is we're basically creating twitches that are similar to the body reacting to cold. So when you're shivering, right, what the body is trying to do when you're cold, when you're shivering, is it's trying to burn energy and then have excess heat to basically warm up the body because you're cold. That's literally what the body is doing, like when you're freezing and when you're shivering in the cold. And we are simulating that, and we're giving these like small twitches to the muscles. And what's happening is the body is just burning additional energy on top of what you're doing from the running itself. So you don't have to run as fast and you don't have to go as fast to put a cardiovascular load on your body. So for example, once you're like, when you're still like very heavy, jumping, running is all very difficult. So if a brisk walk plus Katalyst can bring you to the same heart rate as a run would, while you're not able to run yet, but you can still have the cardiovascular benefits of the same heart rate.
And that is why it's absolutely game changing. It changes everything. Like I've done the videos on it where I've had the either the Whoop on or the iWatch on and or my Apple Watch on, and I've done it without the Katalyst suit. And with the Katalyst suit, I'm able to stay in those target zones the entire time when I'm wearing the suit.
Yeah, the reason why I'm so excited about hearing that again from you is that, because you shared this with me, like, last year, like, in email, is we're able to help a population within our society that didn't have access to training that fits their situation before.
Yeah. And I'll be real honest, is the first person I've seen that looked like me trying to buy this suit. I had a lot of real embarrassing questions when I first emailed you guys. I'm like, well, shit, I just got to go and ask. Because first of all, is the damn thing even going to fit? And I'm not even close to your largest size, even when I first started. And then the question I had is looking at all the people that used your suit. I was like, well, I mean, that's cool and all, but can it go through all this? Get to those muscles, because they're kind of far away from the surface. It works. I promise.
Yeah. No, 100%. So to be very transparent and very clear, is like we are surprised by how much success and how much love we get from part of the society that is not fit yet. And I say yet because look at you,
there.
like a few months later, like, you're a different person.
Yeah. Oh no, completely different person.
Right. And generally what we have in technology and like all new products is there's an adoption curve. There's an early adopter group, and those are generally the people that are already doing a lot of fitness, that just want something that they can travel with, that just want something extra and so on and so forth. So we haven't even started marketing to the non-fit audience or the GLP-1 customers or literally people that are on this journey. We haven't even started that. And all that happened was a pure word of mouth thing. Literally like your friend told you, like, hey, you should try this. And at this point in time, probably a third of our new orders are like in very large sizes. So we're like, what? Where's that coming from? Right? So because it works. And then what you are look at you, like you're so excited about this and you're so happy. And when you have a person that, as you said, I wanted to prove it does not work, right? Like if you're starting on that end and you end up on you have to do this, like those people are just the best advocates we can have.
That was literally my mission. I was there to prove out this is just another bullshit thing they're trying to sell us that's not going to end up working. That's just going to be another thing I have in the exercise closet. But it's literally 100% the single most important thing that I have done.
Wow. Wow.
Because there's no way a person like me, I would have just been happy, just, trucking along through it. There's no other way that I could have worked out. There's no other way that I could have changed this into a just get skinny journey into like, you know what? I think I would like to be healthy for the rest of my life. And having muscles on my body, the more lean muscle mass that I can have will make me healthier for the rest of my life in every aspect of health.
100%. Your immune system is different. Even if you get into a car accident, like your likelihood of like surviving without major injuries is much higher because your muscle is your armor, basically.
Yeah, I went from trying to prove you wrong to every single person that comes into my house. They're like, "Oh, is that suit?" Like everybody, yeah. And then I go on to like a 25-minute TED talk about what all the little things do. People just want to come over and watch football. I'm like, no,
you have to listen to me first.
Watch the suit demo.
I mean, the one thing that we're hearing, or that I hear from customers a lot is the gift of health is literally like health is your wealth. That's literally your wealth, and because it's so surprising and it hasn't been accessible to like a vast group in our society. Like when you found something, like you want to share like what you found, right? Because you want to also other people do good.
Well, especially when it's the only thing you've ever found that really does work. I mean, like, just think of a lifetime of all this other things I've gotten.
What did you try before? Like, what were other things that you tried? Or like, I mean, so
my gosh,
can I get some context?
Called a gazelle that you went back and forth, and I'd have little resistance bands on. I have a treadmill for a long time that years before they just turned into a clothes rack. I have a trampoline out there. There's a vibration plate out there. Basically, the living room looks like a little gym. But I've tried every 20-minute abs, like all the videos that you normally get, and it's just they're it's not that they are hard and they're just not encompassing. And with this, you have your trainers there, and it's legitimately 20 minutes. It's not a bullshit DVD like 20-minute abs, 20-minute butt. It's 20 minutes, and it's everything all at one time, and you're sore for days. For days.
Yes.
And it's the best feeling ever to get the opportunity to be sore for just putting on a suit.
So which aspect? So you said time is an aspect, right? Mm-hmm. So time is definitely an aspect. What do you think is so fundamentally different in what Katalyst offered to you versus like all the other things? Because you probably also had things that had content and that like had motivation and all that stuff. Like what do you think is for you the one or two things that really made a difference?
With utilizing the suit?
Yes.
You can't screw it up. It is foolproof. I don't know what I'm doing. And they're like, oh, we'll go to the gym, get a free training. I'm not going to a gym gym. I'm just not going to do it. I don't know how to use the machines. I don't know what I'm doing there. I don't like the culture. I don't want to go to the gym. Mm-hmm. I just don't want to go in there. And it's embarrassing learning how to have to do all of these things. And am I doing too much or am I doing too little? Or is my form right? Or am I going to end up hurting myself? Mm-hmm. Or like you see the videos on YouTube and they're doing all these sets and rotations. How do I even put that together? Like how do I know what to do in what order and how much? And this is just you put it on and you hit start and you make adjustments on the iPad and you make adjustments on tightening it up. And there's a guy or gal on the screen and they just walk you through it, and it's literally at your own pace of what you can do because you can change the intensity either up or down. And it's just you versus you. And your intensity is just based on an iPad, but you're just following along. And the movements aren't crazy. It reminds me of those women in the park you see. I live in Southern California. The women in the park you tend to see, and they're just doing like the Tai Chi. It just looks like fairly simple movements, but it feels like you're like lifting a car. Like
Yes.
you get that like lockup thing, and it feels dumb because you're not holding anything, but you physically can't move your arm.
Yeah. No, I mean, for everyone who's listening, like the way this basically works is the way the like. So everybody says like you have to do resistance training, and where's the resistance coming from? That's really the question, because normally it's either a weight or it's a rubber band or like something like this. And in a Katalyst workout, what we're doing is we're actually helping the body activate muscle mass. So you're actually like, increasing your muscle engagement. And at the same time, let's say we do a biceps curl. When you do a biceps curl, the biceps is working against your triceps. So that's where the basically resistance is coming from, because the two muscles that normally in every part of your body are working against each other, they are now training each other. So instead of your biceps working against a dumbbell and the triceps having nothing to do, now your triceps and your biceps are fighting it out. And this is why it's so hard to move around, because they're literally fighting against each other. And the big benefit of that is, first of all, you're training much more muscle mass at the same time through the body, because both have something to do, and the rest of the body also has something to do at the same time. And the other big advantage is because there's no external force, there's no force on the joints, there's no injury risk because you can't trip, fall whatsoever, you can't lift too much, and bad form doesn't get punished with an injury. So your form is going to increase over time, but if you hunch and you do like a bad form, it's like your muscles are not strong enough to injure each other, right? Because like generally when you're tripping, when you're falling, when you're getting injured, it's always against an external force or against a movement and so on and so forth. But if you just flex your biceps, you cannot tear your triceps, and vice versa, because the triceps A is always going to win because it's the stronger muscle of the two. But also there isn't enough power there. So they're powering each other out, but they cannot overpower each other. And that's the big benefit of what we're doing here.
And it's amazing how much I've grown with the exercises too. Because in the beginning, I couldn't do some of the things. I had to get like a yoga ball and put it underneath. I'm like, okay, it's like one more. I don't even know what they're called. Like when you dip down on one knee, like one more of these or one more of these L's. I don't know, LDLs where you put your like leg out. And I'm like, bro, you're gonna kill me right now. And they kept pushing the intensity button, and I'm like, no more. Like I'm screaming at the iPad back and forth. But for doing hardly any movement, it's incredibly physically hard. And the more I keep intensifying it and the stronger I notice that I'm getting, it's such a self-achievement thing. I'm doing it in the privacy of my own home. I don't know. It's my favorite thing. It's what we grab in a fire, and we've been having those lately.
I mean, it's very, very sad. We had at least 6 or 7 customers reach out to us because they lost their houses in the last few days. And first of all, that's very sad. But what for me was like very astonishing, that 2 days after you lost your house, you're calling Katalyst, like, can I get another suit, please? I'm like, that's top of mind for you? Like, I was just, what? And like we said, like, hey, no worries. Like, we just send you a new suit. Like, we just basically just like no hassle whatsoever. Here's a box. We send you a new suit. No, this is the right thing to do. It's just like people have like lost so much. We can at least, make sure that their mental and physical health is like in shape, and we just send them new suits. But I'm always excited to hear that, we can really play a role in people's physical well-being and mental well-being, and that it's like so important to them. So yeah, it's, I feel very blessed that we can have an impact.
I think you're going to have bigger impact that as the more and more people especially from this side of it, find out about it, and it is just truly just so easy to use. I think that the growth is going to be exponential, and because you can tailor all of those workouts, and we hear it all the time, like, Ozempic butt and all those things. So I'll just put on one of your strength episodes, and I'll just go over there and just do squats in it, like,
yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah. No, it's like I was at a conference in Florida a year and a half ago, and it was about elderly women's health. And the ladies were like super cute, and were super excited, and they all ended up with Katalysts, like large group. But they said, we had a guest last year, and he told us about NBS. And like, what's NBS? It's like no butt syndrome. And I was like, no butt syndrome. And I was like, this is made up term. Like, yeah, this is a made up term. But like, this is generally the problem because we're all sitting, like our glutes are weak and then our posture is bad and so on and so forth. And then when Ozempic comes on top of it, like you completely lose all of it, right? So what you just said is like, hey, getting Katalyst on and do some air squats. Like, it's the best thing.
Yeah, I'll turn on a strength episode and I'll just sit there and do that. Because I was like, I'm not getting Ozempic butt.
No,
It could all go away, but we're not getting rid of that.
So let's go back there for a second. How did you decide to go on this like Ozempic or like weight loss journey, GLP-1 journey? There's like other like Wegovy, tirzepatide, like different versions of it. But what made you start this?
So when my partner Ryan died, it was like and my kids are grown, and he was my entire world. He was my bestest friend in the entire world. And he was, in all intents and purposes, the biggest gym rat you've ever seen in your life. He had a high presser sales job. He was that guy. And I wasn't. I'm like, would prep his meals and stuff like that, but it just wasn't my life. And when he passed away, a part of me died that day too. And I just shut my gates, and I chose not to participate in the world for like about a year. And I gained, oh my God, like 75 pounds. My life was just DoorDash and bad decisions. And I literally didn't care. Life didn't matter, nothing. And I think about like probably 13 months after he had passed away, it was time to make a decision. Like, do we want to live or do we not? Like, want to continue on this little fun thing of life? And I was like, I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, Jesus, what have we done? Like, what have we done? And it seemed like I had gone so far onto the other side that I was like, how do you even like turn this around? And having a neck injury where I can't lift anything. I could barely even at that time, sleep at night because the sleep quality was so bad. Because when you're in that kind of nerve pain, it's just it's horrifying. And I was scrolling like through TikTok or another social, and I kept seeing this. This GLP-1 tirzepatide thing. And we have like a lot of fancy, like, med type places here in Los Angeles. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go there and get some. And so I did. And my world began to change. Like, and there was finally like a little bit of, I started opening lines up, and, eventually I was losing more weight. And then I was like, maybe we can open the gates. I opened the gates to my property and went outside in the sun. And as I started noticing more positive improvements in my body, I just decided that life was worth living. It's going to be different, but it was worth living. And then we had all this fancy gym equipment at our house, and all these rowing machines, and we had one of those stupid cold plunge things in the backyard.
Cold plunges are amazing. They're not stupid. They're amazing.
I can't do.
It's amazing.
It's the one time in our entire relationship he made me hop on that thing because my shoulder hurt so bad, and I didn't talk to him for 3 days. I am not made for cold.
Let's park this for a second because I want to talk about it. Okay, keep going.
I know. I understand scientifically the health benefits. They are very real, and I want to love it with all of my heart. I just wish it wasn't so cold. So I just kept going, and then it became about April. I lost some significant weight, and I'm like, kept hearing about being skinny fat at the end of this. I still wasn't any stronger. I still had to like take one step at a time, and it was harder to get off floor, but I could do it like a little bit easier. But it was just, I was like, how am I ever going to do this? And that's how my friend was like, you should try this suit. I got it. It's kind of amazing. And then from him, from being such a healthy guy, and his life was a gym, that I knew eventually it was going to have to become important. And then I got the suit, and my life changed. And now it's like my whole identity. It's like as if I discovered CrossFit or I bought an air fryer. That's all I want to talk about. It's literally all I can talk about. And it annoys my friends. All of my friends, like, some of them just hate your suit just because they have to hear about it too much. But I'm going to convert them.
Hey, you're on a mission now. Like, you're really on a mission.
Well, I really, because where else can you go and exercise literally everything in such a short amount of time? People complain about not having time all the time. You have time for this.
I mean, in one way, we don't have time, but also the question is, what do we prioritize? And that's really the question. And this is why I was asking, like, do you have kids? And you said they're out of the house. It's like life is busy. Like there's a lot going on in life. And unfortunately for a lot of people, spending time in the gym or going somewhere whatsoever is a waste of time because they don't have the outcomes that they would expect. And here you know what you're going to get out of it, and this is why you keep doing it, because like if I put in half an hour, like including the prep and getting out of it, if I put in half an hour into this, I know what I'm getting. And that is important in human behavior, because you do things where you know the outcomes of.
And who doesn't have it? You have it half an hour. And if you're going to do other exercises anyways, put on the suit and get more out of it. Get the most you can out of things. Optimize your ROI.
This is where your job comes in, right?
Yeah.
So, yes.
Seeing growth, my friend, seeing growth.
Yes. No, so very quickly coming back to the cold plunge piece. I mean, the scientific literature about cold plunges and saunas, like both of them, like, combined or individually, it's just absolutely phenomenal. It's just like literally ideal for your body and that. If you say like, I'm not made for this, I hate this whatsoever. Like we're working, for example, with the guys at Remedy Place, and what they do is like, they literally have someone standing there and like they put the music on and whatsoever. So you kind of forget your time a little bit, rather than just like looking at the watch and saying like, how many more seconds do I have to do? And they do like 5 or 6 minutes sometimes. Like, so I've done like, full thing, like 6 minutes in there, and like we listen to some music, and then time is flying. It's like, oh, like it's like already halftime, and like, we keep going. It's just like mild discomfort is just so beneficial and healthy, and like, working out is like part of that. But the cold plunge is just so good.
I believe you. I know all the science is there. I want as much brown fat as I could get.
Yes.
It would help with my thermal regulation. I want
yes.
I want to love it.
Here we go.
Much.
Here we go.
I want to love it, but every time I'm trying.
No, you don't have to love it. You can hate
I want
it.
to just be able to do it without so many swear words in the backyard.
Oh yeah, like the water doesn't care. Just swear at it. It's okay. It's not offended.
I do the sauna very religiously, because I do get DOMS pretty bad. So I do the sauna every single day.
So one thing very quickly. So sauna and then like cold plunge and like alternating. That's technically the way to do sauna. We like back in the days when I was young, my parents had a sauna in the basement, and in winter we cracked the ice in the pool and then jumped into the pool and then went back to the sauna. And like, that was just like absolutely, we did this as kids, and this is how I grew up. And it was just a great bonding thing also with our parents. But coming back to this is like, if you, and I hope you're gonna, but if you add cold plunges to your regimen, keep some time between workouts and the cold plunges of about 6 hours.
Okay.
And here's the reason for that. So in strength training, you're going to have like micro tears, and this is why you're sore, and like, you're going to have some inflammation in the body. And in order to actually have a good adaptation and hypertrophy and so on and so forth, like muscle growth and adaptation, you actually don't want to interrupt that inflammation. So if you're then very quickly after that do the cold plunge, you're actually reducing the inflammation quite a bit, but that also interrupts the adaptation and growth process of your muscle mass. So the general rule is about 6 hours between a strength training where you want to actually gain strength and muscle mass, and a cold plunge. So for everyone who's listening, like if you guys are into cold plunges and you're like, oh, this is great and I'm less sore, I'm like, yeah, but there's a downside of it. The sauna is not the problem because heat is okay, but the cold plunge will interrupt that, and you don't want to do that. So that's a small hint and recommendation for cold plunges while you're training.
If I ever get down to a cool plunge, I will try that.
Yeah, you can start with like, you don't have to go for like 40 or something like this, or like what is like freezing in like Fahrenheit? I don't know.
32 or below.
32,
I don't
like
know.
you
I
don't
just
have to
know
do
that there
like,
used to be one of those the metal dumbbells out there, and you crack the ice on the
yes,
top of it.
yeah,
Oh,
yes.
I don't
Amazing.
know.
Amazing. No, in the mornings, it's just really cool. We don't have ice on our pools here. You probably, I don't, do you have ice on your pool? Like you don't.
In Southern California?
Yeah, no, you don't. Because I'm in
No.
Vegas also. Like we
It's
also don't have ice on the
it's
pool.
72 and sunny, 260 days a year.
Exactly. That's the same for us. It's like, we have like 294 or 296 days of like blue sky. So we don't do ice. Like we don't do that. Like, it's not in the
No, this
curriculum here.
contraption we have in the back, it's like it's insulated, and it forms ice on it.
Yeah. Amazing. So use it.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Baby steps, my friend. Baby steps.
Baby steps, baby steps. So where are you now? Like, what's your regimen now? Oh, nutrition. So you said you increased protein intake. So the 1 gram per pound of muscle, body mass rule is a very good rule. And I'm trying to do the same. I'm 200, 210. I'm like fluctuating between that. It's actually tough. Like,
Yeah.
eating that much protein is really tough. When I always tell friends, like when I'm cooking and when let's say we do a pasta bolognese or something like that, it's a pound of ground beef per person for my wife and I. It's just it's a otherwise you're not gonna get to your protein intake.
Yeah,
Like
that's a pound of ground beef, the 90-10. What is that? 97 grams of protein.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So,
Yeah.
but because we also intermittent fast, we have like 2 meals. Like we need that. Like you need that. Like you need like really like amounts of that. And very often when we go to steakhouses, it's like, and we do orders and we've never been there before and the servers don't know us. It's like, that's a lot of meat. That's a lot of meat. And we said, we hope so. Like, that's like, that's generally the order. And like, we had people bet against us. Like literally like these two, like, no. Like my favorite moment was like about 3-4 years ago. It was in Santa Monica. Meat on Ocean is the place called. They do like amazing cuts and like very aged stuff. And we ordered like this 42-ounce porterhouse steak. And then like the server came and like he was supposed to bring it to our table and he basically just looked at what he had on his like plate and then he looked at the two people and he's like, that can't be the table. He just like moved on. Like he just literally like, just like, and then he came back and said, okay, that's actually the table. Like he said like this doesn't match. This doesn't fit. And then he was like taking a bet against us and he lost. So like really getting enough protein is really important. Do you supplement?
Oh, yeah. My supplement game is pretty hard.
Okay.
Definitely supplement.
What do you supplement?
Like just, oh my gosh, fish oil. I do L and NNA, magnesium citrate glycinate, D3K2 with B12 injection. I inject the B12 and I do injection L-carnitine. And then I'm currently on tesamorelin at night to help with my sleeping. So, yeah.
But tesamorelin is not just a sleeping thing. It's also...
What tesamorelin was originally developed for people who have lipodystrophy. And
Yeah.
what it does is it helps your pituitary gland pump out more of your own body's natural HGH through the night. And I try to keep my sleeping hours between 10 and like starting at least at 10. Because that's when your body's already pumping out as much HGH already. And then you're just adding to your own HGH levels, which helps in turn get you better REM and deep sleep.
Wow. You're really up. Yeah, you really have your game together. Like, it's very impressive.
I told you, this is my life now.
Yes.
All because of your suit. All this, I know all of this because of the suit. I didn't know any of this before.
I mean, I made a joke a few years ago. I said, like, I'm basically creating a gateway drug into a healthy lifestyle.
You are the cartel. Yeah, you are basically you're running a whole cartel over there in Vegas to get people on this healthy and fitness journey. No, I'm so deep into all this stuff. I'm like, I find myself like, I used to watch TV. Now I can't do that. I have to listen to Huberman and Galpin talk about muscle protein synthesis every night.
So beautiful. I mean, I'm so excited because you're also becoming an advocate for your friends and for your social group. And hey, when do we have things that are addictive that are good for you? Like whenever do we have that? And yeah, happy.
I think a part of the excitement is that you go your whole life and nothing's ever worked, right? You going, I am, 40, under middle 40, but over beginning 40. I'm 40s years old, and my entire life, nothing has ever worked. And you try things and they, give 30 days and then you fall off the wagon. And that's pretty much been the cycle, I think, for most people in my situation their entire life. And then you have this tool that works. And it's just, now you have a medical intervention that works. And it's your choice what you are going to do with it. Are you just going to take it and just live the same shitty lifestyle that you're living before and just have less of the same? Or are you going to utilize the first thing the most powerful weight loss drug that mankind has ever known and take that as the ability, now that food's not a part of the equation and that big hurdle has been removed, to now can I take these steps to change my life forever? And that's the choice that people are going to have to make. And I just took it off the extreme end because I have all this stuff I want to learn because I can actually apply it now. It's actually exciting to know these things.
Wow. I mean, if that's not an empowering message that you have here, then I don't know. So I totally agree. We have to get it out to the broader public. I always tell people I'm in the too good to be true business.
That's why I try to prove you wrong. It was too good to be true.
No, I mean, it's actually quite challenging because one of the rules that we have at Katalyst is like that we never oversell. We never like do anything that's like we cannot actually prove and we cannot back up and we cannot, because when you're in the too good to be true business anyway, and people have a hard time believing you, it's like everything you have to say has to be true. Like literally everything. You can never be off or like half off or something like this. Like everything you have to be able to back up, because I think it's literally for us to reverse the perception of, is fitness for me or not? Because there's like half of the population thinks fitness, or more than half of the population thinks fitness is not for me. And personally, it's not that I don't care about fit people. That's not the point, but they already have like solutions. I really care about the ones that didn't have solutions before. And those are the ones that I want to help. And hey, help me and everyone else out there, like, spread the word, get it out there. Let's change lives. Yes.
Well, you are. I almost want to have people be able to come to my house and just try it. Like I'm to that point where I just want people to come over and just try it. Just try it once and see how you feel.
Beautiful. Candice, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was an absolute treat and a pleasure. I appreciate it. You'll have to come on my show next.
I want to. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we'll have to set that up. That'd be great.
Let's set that up. Absolutely. And yeah, let's dive in deeper. Try the cold plunge.
I'm a man. I'm a woman of my word. I promise you, that's a maybe.
That's a maybe. a hard maybe.
No, the thing is, I promise you, every bit of science about it is so powerful. And in the summertime, I'm almost ready. And when it's hot over here, or hotter, like in the upper middle 80s, I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no. Like when I go running at the beach, I don't even like. I wear sand socks. I don't even like getting my feet cold in the water.
Yeah, I also hate cold feet. Like I'm totally with you on this. And I actually think I have a blood circulation issue, but that's a different topic. I always have cold feet. I hate it. But actually, after a cold plunge, because your circulation is so like active, like that all goes away. What I always say is discipline is doing things that you hate with as much effort as things that you love. And I'm totally okay with hating a few things. And the cold plunge is definitely not my favorite, but I always remember how I feel when I get out of it. And I'm looking forward to that. So that's kind of like how I approach it. I'm also not really looking forward into getting in, but I'm looking forward into getting out afterwards. So this is how I basically cheat on myself.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's find out. Hard maybe. I get it. I totally
No,
get it.
maybe I definitely want in my head. I want to love it. I even went and did cryo freezing, where they put you in there for like 2 minutes. I felt like banging on the door. Let me out.
You
I was like,
survived.
how long was that? They're like, it was 16 seconds. I did not do well.
Okay. Hey, doesn't have to be for everyone, like 100%. Thank you so much for sharing your story. This was great. Yeah, so what's your handle? Where can people like read more about your journey?
On YouTube, right here on YouTube, the T on GLP.
Wonderful. We're going to put it into the show notes, and then people can learn more about your journey and how you got from where you were to where you are today.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for your time. This is wonderful.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.